It is about a 15-year-old kid who moves with his single dad to a suburb of Portland in Oregon in the US. And while he's there, they have very little money, this family. And while he's there, he gets a job at a very kind of rundown racetrack that's near his house. And while he's there and working for this racehorse owner, he befriends, I suppose, a pretty useless racehorse called Lean on Pete. As the story goes on, his world falls apart. His family system breaks down. Where he's working falls apart. He's not being helped by anybody. But he is like driven through this pretty unhopeful situation, but he's still driven by this strange sense of hope to find what it is he's looking for, which is a relative that he thinks he can find, who he can have some kind of stability with and some kind of home. And the tragedy is that for Charlie, that very simple thing, having a home, having someone to look after him, is so difficult to find. And that, to me, is the kind of the heartbreaking nature of the story. The film is really about Charlie. It's not about him and the horse, and it's about this kid desperately needing some kind of security and stability and some kind of home. And I feel like that while the horse plays an enormous role in that story, the horse is not in the film for the whole film. It is not just about him and the horse, and it's certainly not a sentimental version of a story about a kid and an animal. I would say it's quite tough. You know, it's a serious look at this world that this kid lives in. And I think sometimes we have this idea that if something's about a boy and a horse, it's going to be a Disney movie. So don't be scared. It is not a Disney movie. The main horse himself, who was called Starsky in real life, was great to work with and was very well trained, and the trainers were always there and very, kind to consider it, so he was always safe. And it was good for Charlie. Like, I think Charlie bonded with that horse, and you can see it in the film, I think, about, his relationship, and he spent 3 weeks working with the horse before we shot to try and develop that relationship, because essentially Charlie needs to direct the horse when he's on camera with the horse. He needs to know how to look after it and walk it and deal with it. So Charlie was great at that. And when I auditioned him, he was at that perfect kind of cusp between a boy and a man, essentially, and an adult. And you could see that in his face. You could see that sometimes he looked incredibly young, and then sometimes he looked older again. And that was very important for this role, because you have to believe that this kid is not a man, an adult yet, but he's not too young that, you have to be able to believe he could drive a car or he could steal a horse, all those kind of things. And also, he was just such a good actor. Like, the minute I saw his audition tape, I was like, this is it. Me and the casting director was like, right, let's just stop. This is the guy, this is the kid. And you just know that, you just feel it. You feel when someone feels perfect for the role.